This DFS Divisional Round NFL Playoff Picks edition of the Sports Gambling Podcast is presented by WynnBet. WynnBet is now live in Arizona, Colorado, Indiana, Louisiana, Michigan, New Jersey, New York, Tennessee, and Virginia. From boosted same-game parlays to live in-game odds, WynnBet has what you need to win. Sign today, bet 100, get 100 at sportsgamblingpodcast.com/WynnBet. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/WYNNBET. State restrictions apply.
Hi, this is Merrill Hodge, and you're listening to SGPN. Let it ride, baby.
Cox.
He's one of those guys who will get penetration.
Welcome everyone to the Sports Gambling Podcast. I'm Sean, stacking the money green with my partner in picks, Ryan, Real Money Kramer. What's happening, Kramer?
Dog.
Not feeling like a sexy bitch right now.
Why is that?
I don't have the jacket on, Sean.
The amount of people that came up and commented specifically to Ryan, but also to me, rocking our sweet homage jackets when we did the quick day trip to Las Vegas yesterday. It's insane. I've never had this many people. And maybe you just don't wear enough Giants stuff normally, Ryan, but I've never can recall this many people coming up to you and saying something, and we really stand out in the crowd, and people are like, "Hey, how you friends?"
First of all, it's got to be like stepbrothers, us sitting next to each other on the plane with the Giants and the Eagles jackets on. But no, I think like I've mentioned, these jackets are just they're legit a small Yorkie to a hot chick. They just have to come over and check it out.
Great accessory. Got to come say hi.
They got to say hi. Give it a pet to see what's underneath the hood. And sorry, the man in the box was in here before. I think he had some levels turned up.
No, I'm just trying to figure out the cable in here.
What's going on? Oh, I see what's going on. What's going little
soundboard cabling issue. Got it sorted. All right, we're ready to go. Here we go. Oh, listen to that. Listen to that noise. Hey, as always, brought to you by WynnBet, sportsgamblingpodcast.com/WYNNBET. Bet big, win bigger. Sports gambling. I mean, you haven't signed over at WynnBet now. What are you waiting for? So many opportunities to win. You got that sweet parlay wheel. You have the win hour for reduced juice on tons of games. We're taping this on a Thursday here. Indiana, Illinois, less juice. Even their NFL games, a lot of them are. I'm seeing -108 in the Bengals Bills game. Again, why are you paying extra juice if you don't have to? WynnBet is the place to win. sportsgamblingpodcast.com/WYNNBET. Bet 100, get 100. State restrictions apply, and of course, fire up that parlay wheel, spin it and win it. And as always, offer subject to change, terms and conditions at WynnBet.com. Must be 21 or older and present in the state where playthrough WynnBet is available. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem, call 1-800-522-4700. Joining us on the line, you know him as the editor from the sportsgamblingpodcast.com and the Don of Bills Mafia, Mr. Adam Pelletier. What's happening, Adam?
Not much, guys. Just getting ready. Keeping my fingers crossed, get through this weekend, and we'll see what I'm doing next weekend. That's the big question on everybody's mind. As the NFL took an outdoor game and put it potentially indoors, Colby Dant is rolling over in pain wherever he is. That's all I know.
Yeah, you almost said grave, but I know what you're getting at there. Yeah, it is crazy. Why Atlanta? Did we, as someone who follows the Bills super close, did we get any sort of explanation on Atlanta?
The only explanation can be is they knew if they put it in Charlotte, it would be 70,000 Bills fans in that stadium.
Everyone from upstate New York,
and it would just be packed.
Charlotte.
We all live here now. No one stayed. We all moved to Charlotte. We all said we're sick of the cold. We're sick of the snow. We're going to move somewhere. And when the Bills show up in Charlotte, do we show out? There's a Bills backers bar a half mile from the stadium that when the Bills are in town, they
Too
just
dangerous.
close
They
off
couldn't
the
do it.
parking lot, whole tailgate going on. And it feels like home, really. That's probably why. They knew if they put it in Charlotte, it would feel like home.
I feel like you missed they did. It was because it was on such short notice. The only place they were able to secure was in Atlanta because, of course, Chick-fil-A won't be open.
It's
so
closed.
They had no bookings on Sunday.
And they, obviously Atlanta home to where Home Depot started. Tons of foldable tables available. So if Bills Mafia heads down there, they're gonna. There was that great story about when they went down to Jacksonville of like local places not selling folding tables unless you had like a local license.
That's stupid
because they were selling out.
Just have a local rate. They do it in Hawaii all over the place.
Yeah.
Just have a local rate. Like sell. If someone from Bills Mafia shows up, it's fair for you to tax them a bit, but sell them the table.
Adam,
we're going to be bringing our own. Don't worry. But we got to take care of business this week. We're getting ahead of ourselves.
Not looking past.
I had to get ahead of myself just because I had to get the pre-order in. Sign into the NFL app, make sure I'm on the pre-order list. Had to think ahead a little bit so that way I'm ready for just the game next weekend if it happens.
Now I will say, as someone who has watched a game in the Atlanta state, a neutral site game in that stadium. I'll be very excited to see which crowd. Not to say the Bills are going to be there, but of the two teams that would potentially play in that game, hypothetically, I'm not saying it's the Bills and the Bengals, or the Bills and the Chiefs, but it certainly would be fun to see which crowd could win the stadium.
And they both travel well, so I think it would end up being close to a 50-50 split.
A lot of fights, right? Similar fan base. It's very scrappy.
No. The Bills fans have class. Chiefs fans are out here robbing banks to pay for their tickets.
There was the
Search
guy
it if you didn't hear about
that. Was a great story. The guy robbed the Kansas City bank in his Chiefs mask.
But anyways, last time I was in Atlanta for a Bills Falcons game, you wouldn't have known any different. It was a Bills game. It was a Bills home game. Atlanta fans, not really fans. They weren't cheering. They weren't with it. They're front runners.
That's true.
They don't understand what it's like to cheer for a bad team. And this was before the Bills were good. I don't even remember. I think Kyle Orton was the quarterback.
It was the last. What you got to realize is that Falcons, like if you're in that part of the country, it's all about the Braves and Chipper Jones. Maybe I'm dating myself. Chipper still playing, Sean? Still getting out there swinging the old stick.
Love them, the Braves. All right, one last thing.
Can I ask one more question of Don and Bills Mafia? Are you feeling good about the fact that you get to host this game, even though?
No. Okay. No, I think we should be going into Cincinnati and taking care of business. Okay. I want to play Cincinnati. I want to play the Chiefs. I want everybody to realize that this team is good. This team is a Super Bowl caliber team. Josh Allen is a Super Bowl caliber quarterback. Will beat everybody on their best day. I want them to beat the NFC's
I love this.
representative. And then I want them to go and play whoever lost the NFC Championship game the next week.
Just to make sure.
Prove the point.
Just to make sure.
To make sure.
Honestly, I was kind of throwing out there, kind of in jest there, but I do think there was something if Josh Allen rallied the team and said, you know what? Grade that game as a loss. We don't need it. We're going to come to you and like kind of just full leaned into it. Our brother is healthy. That's all we needed in Cincinnati. You guys take that win. I wonder what would have happened if they would have like leaned into that. Cause I think that is like
America's team loading.
That is like a badass origin story.
America's team is here. Yeah. It's not the Dallas Cowboys. There's only one good red, white, and blue jersey team in the NFL that actually wears red, white, and blue as the primary jersey color, and it is the Buffalo Bills.
Coincidentally, also the only team to lose 4 straight Super Bowls.
Oh, Ryan, don't bring that up.
Top 10 NFL dynasty.
Real quick.
Early 90s Bills, top 10 NFL dynasty. Maybe 10 teams that had a better stretch than the early 90s Bills.
No argument. Just dynasties generally get at least one.
We saved them so we can rattle off some wins here with Josh.
Here's what I will say. Not that obviously we've been kind of handicapping the situation with where DeMar Hamlin's going to be this week. Sean, if you, as I told you before the show, I've been digging on the AM radio lately. I've been going full AM radio in the car, and the local 570 in Los Angeles. I'll plug them because what they're doing is pretty disgusting. They are reminding people they're to get people to tune into the Bills Bengals game this weekend, Sean. Yeah. They are essentially saying, remember that amazingly crazy moment that happened a couple weeks back where a man almost died on the field. That's how they're promoting the game.
Really? That seems like a weird.
It was shocking.
Weird angle to lean into.
It was super shocking. Anyway, yeah, let's pick a lineup.
Let's get to the lineups. Kramer, you have the honors. Who's your quarterback?
Well, I mean, I see one quarterback in the NFL that can handle the rushing workload and sling the ball with his arm, maximum efficiency. Also save a ton of dough. They didn't adjust the price right here. It's like they haven't been watching the NFL. I've built some lineups with Mr. Mahomes, Mr. Burrow, and Mr. Allen. But for this lineup, 5,800, Dan Jones.
You know, I don't mind it, especially considering how cheap it is, and it's very easy to run on a prevent defense. So I think
fell for it. I was like, "What's going on?"
You really bought it, hook, line, and sinker. Thank you.
In my head, I was like, "You're so nervous. You're going to start complimenting the Giants." Is that
no need for that?
Okay.
Are you going Josh Allen, Adam?
Not even a question.
There you go.
I'm going to do a little bit of a thought exercise here because Kramer's been saying that Josh Allen misses Daddy Dable.
Correct.
And so I'm going to give Kramer two stat lines here, and he's going to tell me which is from Ken Dorsey and which is from Brian Dable.
Okay.
63% completion percentage, 4,400 yards, 36 touchdowns, 15 interceptions, no game-winning drives, no fourth quarter comebacks.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Versus 63% completion percentage, 35 touchdowns, 14 interceptions, 3 fourth quarter comebacks, 4 game-winning drives.
So, unfortunately, I already know this information because it seems that Bills Mafia listens to the show and the memo went out. One person tweeted to me publicly. 3 separate people slid into my DMs, all with the same information. He's the same this year as last year. All right, that's fine. That's fine. I'm telling you, as a guy who's watched decades of football, I think he misses Daddy Dable, and he's holding on.
He misses him a little. He's holding on to the ball a little too much. He's taking too many shots. But prime time playoff Josh Allen comes to play. And you know what? I'm not that worried about this year because I'm going to read you another 5th-year quarterback stat line. 66% completion percentage, 4,200 yards, 27 touchdowns, 19 picks. The forehead, the sheriff himself, Peyton Manning's 5th year in the NFL, only went 10-6.
Wow.
All I'm saying, Josh is on a pretty good trajectory. Not overly worried about it. They're going to get the offensive line fixed.
But really,
I want to get subscribed to this Bills Mafia stats info.
The Bills Kool-Aid delivery system. You just sign up every month. You get a new flavor of Bills Kool-Aid.
No, there's only one flavor. It's blue flavored, and that's it.
What is your take on the turnovers? Because it does seem like a real thing with Josh. There's been some high leverage moments. Maybe he's just forcing it a little bit, trying to do too much. Certainly it's not arm strength. He seems to be, he has good recognition. What do you make of the turnovers?
I think it's that the thing that's been different this year is the offense hasn't been as dominant as it was 2 years ago. And the defense isn't as good as it was last year. So he has to put this team on his back more often. And without Cole Beasley underneath, they don't have a reliable slot option. Gabe Davis is the softest 6'4" receiver I've ever seen play the game of football. And I say this, I love him because he makes some plays, but golly, he drives me up a wall. So it's just, he's put in a situation where he has to go win the game. And he's going and winning the game this year, even if he does put them behind the 8 ball. And some of that is the line has struggled this year. The Bills' offensive line has been decimated by injuries. They were missing Mitch Morse for a bit. Dawkins has missed time. Right tackle's been a rotating door between Quessenberry and Spencer Brown. and he's holding the ball longer because he's trying to make those hero ball plays. He has almost half the throwaways he had last year. So Dorsey is clearly coaching him to hold the ball and make a play, whereas Dable said throw it away and live to play another down.
I will say, now having Dable on the team and hearing the way they talk, there is a lot of value placed on the chemistry between the slot receiver and the quarter. Richie James in the Giants case, where a lot of what they work on is the freestyle aspect. So I can totally buy that. It seems like the lack of although the Beasley man is back now. Sean will tell you that, but
he hasn't been himself. I mean, I've seen Cole Beasley out there who he's like when you get a little older and you go to play pickup basketball at the park and you go to make that move that you could do 3 years ago, and then you pull your hamstring and you're like, oh shit, I'm not 28-year-old, I'm 31, 32-year-old now. And you're just that little bit slower, and it just changes the whole chemistry and outcome of everything.
It's that alternative medicine he's into.
He's been his self-immunization routine has not been good for Cole Beasley.
Not a good look.
All right, hey, what do we got here? Oh, I know, my quarterback, Jalen Hurts, confirmed, dog.
What a great episode!
And I missed
the homers abound. I wonder how many people will complain about the homerism this episode.
Jalen Hurts, he's off the injury report. He's hungry. He's motivated. I mean, you want to get aroused football wise. Just listen to some of his interviews leading up to this game. The level of laser focus that is in his voice, the command. The guy is just a winner. 14-1 at home. He's going to be a willing runner, and I like the matchup at home against the Giants. You're paying up, but you're paying for good reason. Give me Jalen Hurts 7,600.
If in case you were wondering, the projected chalky picks are Josh Allen and Jalen Hurts. No surprise there. With Patrick Mahomes right behind him. Dan Jones and Joe Burrow both projected to be like 10%.
Joe Burrow is pretty interesting. But again, the more I think about it, the more I think that game, I don't know. I could see it being uglier than people might think, at least for a GPP thing. I think either leaning into Burrow or just kind of fading that game, or maybe just playing one of the running backs and not the pass catchers.
Good transition.
There's a lot of ways to play this game. Did you play Joe Mixon?
Well, yeah, great transition.
Yeah.
Kind of discussed it on the FFPC playoff challenge show, but I the more that I looked into it, the more that I like Joe Mixon for a couple of reasons. One, if they do win the game, Joe Mixon's almost certainly going to be doing something with the state of the offensive line. And two, like Joe Mixon is one of the few running backs who's going to get the workload to where they could. I mean, I don't know if I have. Yeah, that's right. 3 touchdowns, baby, 50-1. You can even like that if you don't, and like the Bills to win the game. I don't know. It just seems like his floor is super high. When I pulled up the ownership too, I was surprised to see like he's not on that top shelf when it comes to projected ownership. So he'll still definitely catch some ownership, but 6,500. I think folks are going to look to Jamar Chase more. I think T Higgins being only 5,800 is going to be a really attractive play. So I even think Joe Burrow is 65. He's 1,100 less than Hurts. So I'm surprised at the projected ownerships for Burrow, because I feel like people are going to find themselves into that double. It's not the most expensive double. Like you can play the Burrow double bet way easier than a Mahomes single with Kelsey.
Well, also too, I mean, you could talk yourself into Tyler Boyd. Tyler Boyd did have in that game that was voided against the Bills. He was the guy who had that first touchdown.
Perhaps all of what we said is why Mixon's projected to get less than 20% ownership.
Adam, what's your first running back?
I gotta look at the other side of the battle of the bosses here, and I gotta go with. Actually, no, sorry, I changed that. Travis Etienne. I lied. It's no bosses. I couldn't
get Miles Sanders out of there.
I couldn't pick between the dads, so I went with Travis Etienne, because when you look back at what the Kansas City Chiefs have done against the Seattle Seahawks, they gave up 100 yards to Kenneth Walker on 26 carries. At the end of the day, if they're going to feed him, he's going to get work. And additionally, they gave up 6 catches to DJ Dallas. Travis Etienne is better than both of those players, and so he's going to get his work. They also failed to contain Austin Eckler. The Chiefs struggle against good backs on the ground, and Jacksonville's going to get ETN the ball as he's their best player right now. He's their best offensive weapon at this moment.
I mean, Sean, he's in my cash lineup this week. Yeah, I really like ETN. I mean, I'm super stoked on the lineups I advanced with ETN.
I think there's a lot of ways to attack the Kansas City defense.
But I didn't play ETN in this lineup.
No, and I got a nugget here. Shout out to the new research guy pulling down some great stuff here. ETN, he had a God damn it. ETN receiving props as a good way to fade some of the Chiefs linebackers. So I think ETN might be involved more in the pass catching game, besides being like a decent option to run against him.
Also, yeah, I mean, it's coming off that kind of strange 12-yard receiving game too. So you're buying
and the Chiefs run a ton of too high safety. So again, that's where you get that nice underneath stuff. So it might be good for Evan Ingram, or it might be good receiving props for ETN as well.
And he actually hasn't been that big of a pass catcher out of the backfield. His best week was 3 catches this year.
It's weird.
But the thing is what he can do after he catches the ball.
Yeah.
He hasn't had a big break yet, but it feels like this could be the week where it happens, because the Chiefs have to contain Ingram, both the Joneses and Christian Kirk, and he's going to gash him on the ground. He doesn't need a lot of work. He went 9 for 108 against the Texans and was out at halftime. Yeah. 12 yards a carry is one hell of a game.
My first running back, Jerick McKinnon, again, like he is on just an insane heater. He's $6,000, but like the pass catching stuff, the touchdown, at some point you can just say, hey, he's due for regression, or you can just ride the hot hand. Jerick McKinnon touchdown in his last 6 games. He has 9 touchdowns on 27 touches. Like that kind of efficiency, it's maybe not sustainable long term, but I'm not fading
regression.
I'm not fading it this week against that Jags team. Are you kidding me? And he's guaranteed to be used near the goal line. Like they obviously use him in the receiving game. Maybe CEH comes back, but if I'm Andy Reid, like you're almost just figuring out new ways to get Jerick McKinnon involved versus like excuses not to play him. That touchdown efficiency is just insane. So I'm all over Jerick McKinnon.
Well, I mean, in last year, if you remember, he had an awesome postseason in the wild card round.
Yeah.
In the wild card round, he had a 6 catch, 81 yard, 1 touchdown performance, and then I think there was a potentially even another touchdown in there. Yeah, just a tremendous amount of pass catching work too, which fits the situation. Jags are pretty trash against the running back. All right, running back 2 is a stack.
Ooh.
I mean, you can play Saquon. I mean, if the Giants are successful in this game, it's because they've run the ball well against the Eagles, just like other teams who have had success against the Eagles have done. Barkley also getting a tremendous amount of usage in the pass game. We just barely missed that 240-1 last week. He had 54 receiving yards. We needed 60. So yeah, I mean, I think the catch floor is pretty high. I think it's got to be part of the game plan. I think part of the reason he only had 9 carries last week is they thought they could attack through the air. And I think this week, if they're smart, which they generally are, they're going to look to attack on the ground a little bit more. Barkley could have one of those huge touch games like he did early in the season.
Yeah, I mean, I
8 catches maybe.
Having Jordan Davis back and him fresh, I think is a huge plus for their run defense.
How many snaps does he play?
Probably like 25.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I think
he's in game shape.
Yeah, no, I mean he dealt with that ankle thing. He's a big dude, but he seems to be back and pretty healthy. So my second running back, Boston Scott. I mean, he's $4,300. This is how you win a GPP is by playing one of these guys. You have to have someone who's going to catch very low ownership that is going to get a touchdown at a good price. Boston Scott. He has 8 career games against the Giants. He has 10 touchdowns. Boston Scott has
in the regular season.
He has never scored, or he has never not scored a touchdown while playing the Giants.
This is true.
Nick Sirianni knows that, and maybe they get away from Hurts QB sneak. They like Boston Scott near the goal line. To me, at 4,300, it's a smash play.
Boston Scott is the stuffed crust pizza of running backs.
Delicious.
Only great the week they're playing the Giants.
Adam, what do you got for your second running back?
So I need to qualify this here, as I think this Bills Bengals game is going to be a shootout. I think there's a very real possibility this game crosses 90 points total.
Wow.
Whoa.
Where we got 40
Really?
and 40. Both of these defenses have been banged up, given up yardage, given up points, and I think that this is a good candidate to push 90 plus points. So I got James Cook in there because James Cook, low cost play, but high variance, getting double-digit touchdowns 2 of the last 3 weeks, and he hasn't been involved in the passing game as he could be. You know, we saw what he could be against New England when he had 20 touches. He went for 100 total yards, no touchdowns in that game. The Bills need to get James Cook involved because he brings an explosiveness that, as much as we love Devin Singletary and his reliability, he just doesn't get loose like James Cook does. James Cook could get loose as the defense is keying in on Josh and Stephon and Knox and Davis. Somebody's going to be open. If the Bills line can hold up, James Cook could have couple big 20 plus yard plays, which is great value at $4,800, and not a lot of folks are going to be on it.
Well,
So
and James Cook definitely has the chance to be the number one running back. Like it's not set in stone that Singletary's the lead guy, right?
No, they've been pretty much alternating. It's been a pretty clean, almost 50-50 split. Last week, Cook was only 30% of snaps, but before that, 55, 41. He's crossed 40%. 5 times in the last 6-7 weeks. So he's getting work. They like him. They like the explosiveness that he brings. And, you know, whatever faults he has in pass protection, he makes up for it with what he does with the ball in his hands. And he's only going to get better.
He's a great bring back for Joe Burrow, and a double there.
Ooh, interesting. All right, Ryan, let's talk receivers. Who's your first receiver?
I'll get the double out of the way. Richie James is like the matchup. Okay, let's play this, but it's just such a low ceiling that I had. Darius Slayton's basically the same price. Hodgins being 4,900 kept me away from him, but Slayton being 4,200, he's the speed guy. If there's going to be a big play in the game, it's going to be Slayton. I've said this before. We'll probably take a look at his over longest receptions, but 4,200 Darius Slayton completes the Danny Dimes experience. Who do you got, Adam?
What's your receiver?
You can't play Josh Allen and not have Stephon Diggs in there.
There you go.
True.
Diggs has just been an absolute target monster, double-digit targets, over 50% of the games he's played this year, over 100 yards in over half the games he's played, touchdowns galore, including a 3-touchdown game against Tennessee. Stephon Diggs loves the big stage. In a game like this against Cincinnati with a player like Jamar Chase on the other sideline, Stephon Diggs is going to show up and ball out. Look for him to go well over 100 and score at least 1 touchdown.
Wow.
Stephon Diggs calling your shot. It's interesting. You think you're leaning more towards a shootout.
I like that Josh Allen double too.
No,
Cook and Diggs.
Yeah, I think when you play,
wait till we get to the tight end.
Is it Gilliam?
Whoop.
Adam.
No, I didn't go that deep. I didn't go that dark horse. I thought about it for a minute.
Oh man, Gilliam in that Bengals Bills game. I did have Gilliam 27-1 to score a touchdown. He had a red zone catch.
So
he's due. They
He
like
is.
him down around the goal line.
They do. I might have to sprinkle him. Stay tuned for the prop show. Might have to play him again because it's a 27-1, and he's like 100-1 to get a first touchdown. He already had a first touchdown earlier in the season. All right, my receiver one, AJ Brown. The dude is unguardable, having an amazing season. $7,600. I think we'll talk tight end as well, but AJ Brown, he has 3 games over 150 receiving yards, leading receiver in the NFL last 5 weeks. He's just a very tough guy to guard. And if there's any sort of rust or whatever issues coming back, Jalen Hurts clearly has the most chemistry with AJ Brown. No knock on Devonta Smith, who's also a great number 2. AJ Brown all day.
I mean, Smith definitely has the better matchup this week. We'll see how AJ does against Adoree Jackson.
Like our chances.
What are you going to be inside his helmet?
Who's your second receiver? Well, Ryan, before we get to that, taking a quick break to talk about Underdog Fantasy. Underdog Fantasy, they have so many fun playoff tournaments going, including the NFL Divisional playoff best ball. And of course, they have their Battle Royale, which is like their weekly format, kind of like a DFS meets a snake draft. Very fun format. They also have daily games for NBA and NHL. Tons of fun ways to play. And again, if you're just getting into some playoff fantasy, highly recommend Underdog Fantasy and get the account loaded up for Best Ball Summer coming soon, right around the corner. And when you use our promo code SGPN, 100% deposit match up to $100. UnderdogFantasy.com, promo code SGPN. Second receiver, Ryan, what do you got?
We're gonna plop ourselves down on Mr. Oh, why is my phone ring? On Mr. Zay Jones. I definitely want to get into the Jacksonville Kansas City game. I think Zay coming off a strangely inefficient 13 target performance against the Chargers. He's only 4,700. He's cheaper than Kirk. I think Kirk doing well in the last game against the Chiefs will help him garner way more ownership. So wanted to be in the game on the Jacksonville side. Pretty sure people are going to be on Ingram, ETN, and Kirk before they are Zay Jones. So wanted to get a little different. 4,700 Zay Jones.
Yeah. I mean, I'll jump in there because I also have Zay Jones 4,700.
Jump in, Sean.
I mean, you made a lot of good points. He's just clearly involved and a big part of the, a big part of the offense. Like I'm just trying to imagine a situation where he doesn't get a ton of looks, but I mean, I just think there's opportunities against this Chiefs team, both on the ground and in the air. Like I'm really worried about the Chiefs defense. And I think if you're a Chiefs backer, I think this Jags team has nothing to lose. And I think any sort of game script, Zay Jones at 4,700 makes sense. If the Jags are winning big, sure. If the Jags are playing from behind, sure. I don't know. Like I think he's involved in both kinds of games.
Yeah.
Adam, what do you got for your second receiver?
Well, I'm just going to give us some more Zay Jones love here because like Zay Jones once ran through a hotel window screaming, "I'm going to go fight for Jesus."
Yeah.
We're going to fight for Zay Jones here on this podcast, boys.
He's possessed by the Lord.
And let me tell you, the very first 10 target game that Zay Jones had in his career came against the Kansas City Chiefs. Zay Jones has produced against Kansas City. He knows how to get open against that defense. He's had high target games the past 2 times he played them. He had 8 catches for 68 in the week 10 game this year. He's been on fire. He's got 6 games of 10 plus targets. He's got multiple 100-yard games. He had a 3 touchdown game against Dallas. Zay Jones is proving Brandon Beane to be the smartest and dumbest man in the NFL all in one. His receiver picks are out here doing exactly what he thought they could do on someone else's team. And it makes us feel good as Bills fans, but it also hurts a little bit seeing players like Isaiah Hodgins and Zay Jones do well because we liked them. They're great guys. But because of this front office's obsession with old special teams only veterans on a special teams that can't cover punts, we're not going to get into that. This is DFS show. Zay Jones, big time play. Got to have him. 4,700 frees up some room for some more top shelf talent earlier in the lineup.
Is it just me or it seems like a little baggage? Adam,
that was a personal take.
Adam's got some
I don't
stuff
want to talk about Isaiah Hodgins going off there, but we all know that's why Kramer left the Dynasty League, was because he knew he would have to pay a king's ransom for Danny Dimes and Isaiah Hodgins, who are currently on my squad and carried me to a good second place finish this year. I feel good about it.
That's a great point. I mean, honestly, it seems like maybe Isaiah Hodgins has the dog in him that the Bills fans wish Gabe Davis had inside of him. But Sean, we 100%. Have an announcement. We have an announcement to make. We have fired as the ownership group for our dynasty team. We have fired the general manager, aka ourselves, and the team. We will be looking for a new general manager of the team.
That's a real privilege and an honor to take over our dynasty.
You will report directly to me.
You can go ahead and message Matt
I'll-
Morse in the Slack. He
I'll be a
took over
silent.
for you.
I'll be a silent owner, an owner that doesn't want to be bothered with the results or know what's going on.
Adam, and Condoleezza Rice will be helping me in the search for the new GM.
You gotta have a group, and somehow it always has to include Condoleezza Rice.
Yeah, she's just on some sweet ass football.
She was in like the
text.
college football playoff committee. She's
probably got some good dick jokes, you know.
She's just around football. The chat is alive and well. Bradley pointing out Jerick McKinnon had 8 targets versus the Jags this year. Sean, you're on it. Easy wants to know, you really think AJ Brown outproduces Smith this week? I do. A lot of other Zay love in the chat. Bradley pointing out Chiefs lost the turnover battle 3-0 and still won by 10 points. Always fresh, never soggy. Or Easy pointing out that was without playoff Dougie P. All right, what else do we got here? So we all were on Zay Jones. A lot of Zay Jones love. One receiver left. I'll start. Deebo Samuel, 5,900. I'm sure he's going to be chalky, but this is just a classic eye test. Like he looked like a man possessed. He was running all over the field. They went out of their way to get him involved. Whatever doctors said he might be out for the year, those guys are crazy. And again, I think you're going to see a lot of like, this is the ultimate Kyle Shanahan cute game. He's going to be using a ton of RPO stuff, ton of like read option stuff, a ton of like Christian McCaffrey split out as a receiver, Kittle in the backfield, Kittle as a receiver, like whatever it is, they're going to really mix it up. And I think it's going to lead to a ton of Deebo touches. And I think that Dan Quinn's defense might have trouble following a lot of that. And Elijah Mitchell, Deebo had huge games last time they played. So I think, and the more I dug into it, there are, again, maybe I'm insanely biased, but one, you can definitely run on the Dallas Cowboys. Two, it does seem like there's a couple deep shots available. So I think Deebo kind of covers you for both there. Either way, this guy's getting like 15 touches and he's $5,900 at home. Deebo Samuel all day. Kramer,
I like it. All right, so on the continuation of being different, and I saw his name pop up in the chat because I had noted that he missed the game, but maybe he got injured in the game. Juju at 5,100 again wanted to get in the Chiefs.
I think he played like the first quarter and got banged up.
Wanted to get in the Chiefs game. I think you're going to see Mahomes, McKinnon, and Kelsey be the popular plays. And Juju's the only guy on the team that has shouldered any sort of volume in any other game. So if the Jags come out with a great game plan to take Kelsey out of the game, I absolutely could see Juju gobble up a lot of volume here. And yeah, get me the touchdown. 5,100. He's pretty cheap. So I got into the Jags and Chiefs game, Sean, for 9,800. 2 guys, not bad. That's my third receiver.
Adam, third receiver.
Right.
What do you got?
Right there with you, Sean, on Deebo Samuel.
Yeah.
Deebo got involved in a big way last week. Deebo, the 49ers were comfortably into the playoffs all year. They probably didn't work him in as much, gave him some time. He's the kind of guy, he's the sports car. You're going to drive it a few times during the year, show your friends, but you don't really need to do anything more than that to impress them. And then when y'all go to Daytona and get on the track, you're bringing that puppy out and you're just smoking them all. We're on the track in Daytona right now, and Dallas has never faced Deebo Samuel. So this paper tiger Dallas defense needs to face a full complement of 49ers weapons. And Deebo Samuel is the best offensive player on the 49ers. He is a man you build your offense around. He is the feature of that offense.
By the way, speaking of Daytona, did you see? And shout out to Scott Reichel of the Sports Gambling Podcast Network, doing many, many things. He broke the news, to me at least, on my Twitter feed that Frankie Muniz from Malcolm in the Middle is now a NASCAR driver. So fucking what a time to be alive. Man, people did crazy shit in the pandemic.
Yeah, he learned to.
Well, race car driving is just about having a lot of money. So.
Yeah, you have a head start. You gotta have the money. But I'm worried this is taking him away from being the only Clipper fan I know.
Oh yeah,
it was him and Clipper Darrell. They were the only guys who rooted for the Clippers. And now that Frankie Muniz is in NASCAR, I'm worried he's gonna lose his Clipper love.
Bomber's still there.
Palmer, what a psycho. All right. For me, tight end, fairly easy. You get the stack and you get to fade one of the teams that are horrible at the tight ends. Give me Dallas Goedert going up against what? PFF 31st coverage grade for the New York Giants. He's never had a touchdown against the Giants, aka he's due for one. Great opportunity against this Giants team, which is, I mean, yeah, they made TJ Hawkinson look like Mark Bavaro.
You know, I was thinking about using him as my bring back, but I couldn't use a guy named Dallas.
No, there you go.
Just like our buddy Barrett couldn't play for Dallas.
I'm going to call him Philly Goddard.
You call him something
Philly
else.
Goddard for 4,500. Kramer, what are you doing?
He's like one of
title?
those Russian spies that they plant, like wait 20 years to do something. Tight end. George Kittle is not going to be owned this weekend.
Really?
And so again, trying to build an actual GPP lineup out here, not just playing the obvious plays like Sean. George Kittle 5,700. No, I think Debo being so cheap is going to make him quite popular, and McCaffrey's McCaffrey. I love Debo in the matchup too, for what it's worth. But I think, you know, there's a lot of versions of this game where the game plan is to get, you know, McCaffrey, the running game, and Debo can't beat us, and that means Kittle is going to get a lot of volume. And you know, stay tuned to the prop show, because Sean, we're going to need to invest in. We're going to need to look into the Kittle ladders this weekend. Maybe some Kittle multi-touchdown games.
Yeah, I mean,
which, by the way, who would you rather? I love the TV shows. Who would you rather have building your franchise around, Dak or Brock Purdy? It's like it's a good debate. It's beautiful.
Brock Purdy all the way.
George Kittle 5,700. Sean's favorite tight end out of Iowa.
Yeah, stay tuned for the flex, because I got some chatter there. Adam, what do you got for your tight end?
Did you mute yourself, Adam?
Nope, I muted myself. There we go. We are going to complete the Josh Allen triple stack. High quality production over here, folks. We're going to go Dawson Knox here.
Wow.
Because Dawson Knox is on a 5-game touchdown streak. You don't leave the table on a heater, boys.
Whoa.
You don't.
No, that is like someone rolling dice and go, you know what, I'm good. I'm going to walk away. Like, no, you gotta play till you crap out.
Yeah.
In 7 playoff games, Dawson Knox has 5 touchdowns.
He does score a lot.
He scores touchdowns. He does it well. He would have had a 6th touchdown if not for a phantom block in the back against the Houston Texans. I'm still salty, always going to be salty. And additionally, the Cincinnati Bengals gave up 100 yards receiving to Isaiah Likely in the regular season finale in a must-win, do or die coin flip game. They gave up 100 yards to Isaiah Likely and then followed it up with 73 yards to Mark Andrews, catching passes from Anthony Brown and Snoop Huntley. Josh Allen is going to use Dawson Knox to pick this defense apart. We haven't had a Dawson Knox game yet this year. This is going to be it.
He scored. I mean, some are saying Daniel Bellinger is the new Dawson Knox, but yeah, Dawson Knox scores a lot. I
Daniel Bellinger, also a member of the Upcountry D-Gens in the SGPN Dynasty League. Kramer doesn't even know his own squad.
I love how invested you are in Dable and the Giants.
Love Daddy Dable. Come back soon.
Dawson Knox does seem to get a lot of red zone looks. I'll say that. And fun fact,
and he got. It was last week against the Dolphins. He got that second touchdown called back, right?
Yep.
Yeah,
he did, and I'm still not sure about. I see why they called it back. I'm still not sure that wasn't his hand under the ball that caused it to move. But we'll just leave that in the rear view mirror.
Smart decision. And by the way, fun fact: George Kittle, T.J. Hawkinson, both 3-star recruits.
Well, they got that dog in them, Ryan. What are you doing for your flex spot?
That's my bring back, Devonta Smith.
Oh, okay.
The guy with the low key best matchup.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I mean, I think that the Giants are generally vulnerable to good number 2 receivers. KJ Osborne and Adam Thielen, not quite what it takes. And so I think Dallas Goedert's going to get some attention from McKinney, and I think Adoree Jackson plus some help is going to be on AJ Brown. So I think Devonta Smith is potentially the guy to have some big plays in this game. And again, Sean, just from the game theory aspect, because we're trying to win $1 million, not $40 here. Devonta Smith 7,200. How much did you pay for AJ Brown?
76.
Exactly. How many people are going to click Smith over Brown? Not many.
Yeah.
So we got a little different with the bring back. I know you're supposed to correlate the tight end in there, but I'm also a little worried with how Dallas Goedert's going to get played this week, because everyone saw what TJ Hawkinson just did to the Giants. So Devonta Smith 7,200 bring back.
Yeah, for me, I'm going back and forth. Do I get cute and play Kittle as a 12 personnel? Love using 12 personnel in my DFS lineups, or do I go Christian Kirk? Because I think the Christian Kirk, Zay Jones with the McKinney game stack won't be owned that much.
I think you're using the wrong Jag there. I think you want Evan Ingram in that stack over Christian Kirk.
Really?
Evan Ingram been more consistently involved in the passing game. Compare them side by side. Kirk has been up and down. Ingram has been consistently high. He might even be the featured weapon in that offense outside of ETN. They love going to him. They use him well, and he gets open and he capitalizes on weak matchups.
Yeah,
Those Chiefs linebackers are going to get carved up.
I like Ingram. I think I'm going to go Kittle, because I think the Kittle Goddard ownership, like having two tight ends, Kittle and Goddard, that's how I'm going to get different. And Boston Scott.
That's the right GPP play.
Yeah, I'll go
Both
Kittle.
Ingram and
but I like Ingram. I think I have Ingram in my FFPC. But I have the salary for Kittle, so it feels like he's got to go there. And the Brock Purdy Kittle touchdown thing, I think
you heard my play and you're like, that was really sharp. I'm gonna copy that.
Yeah, I'm sticking with AJ Brown. I see your angle though on Devonta. Maybe they both have good games. Maybe they both tear up that Giants defense. Adam, what do you got in your flex spot?
I can't predict an 80-point shootout and not have the Cincinnati Bengals in this lineup. So I went with T. Higgins, the man who last playoffs had 299 yards and 2 touchdowns from the divisional AFC Championship and Super Bowl. He was a beast once they got out of wild card weekend, and he's been kind of quiet this year, but he has that big potential. And the thing that he has is he's a big physical receiver, and the Bills are really going to struggle to cover him. And, I think the Bills are going to focus on Jamar Chase, making sure he doesn't get loose over the top, which leaves T. Higgins to beat up smaller DBs all day on jump balls and physical contested catches. I think he's going to have 100 yards here against the Bills. And I think that, again, it's going to be a shootout, so I want to be on both sides of it.
The sweet irony of T. Higgins and that sweet playoff run, winning me a shitload of money, and then the next year, in the last game of the championship round, T. Higgins essentially costing me tons of fucking money. I guess it all the karma equaled out in the end. But yeah, T. Higgins is some games he looks big. You see it. You look him out. You see him out there. And he looks tall.
He has the number 85. I always think for a second there that he's a tight end.
He's a throwback. Where is it? Yeah, T. Higgins, great play. I like the T. Higgins play.
T. Higgins again.
He's cheap. He's 5,800, right?
Yeah, that's way cheaper than a wide receiver.
Delicious.
1B should be.
2,000 less than Chase. That's pretty crazy.
Yeah, that their splits are usually closer to even. I mean, I still like Chase a little bit more. Not considering salary, but $2,000 in a DFS lineup for a 4-game slate is a huge difference. For me, the defense, you select the defense who can get the sacks. Why not take the NFL leader in sacks, aka the Philadelphia Eagles, at home against Daniel Jones?
Wow.
How many turnovers did Daniel Jones have last game, Ryan? 0? That's going to change come Saturday.
You haven't been paying attention. He's not turning the ball over this year.
Well, that's going to change come Saturday.
Okay.
I think again, the Eagles defense, ton of sacks opportunities.
Yeah. No, they've gotten a lot of sacks in the regular season.
You could also talk me into the Bengals defense. Adam, close your ears here. But with Josh Allen's turnover stuff, I think at 2,400, the fact that they're that cheap, I think is really viable as well.
That's who my defense is. Okay. Stacked nicely with Joe Mixon. I like the running back.
You do like
Cincinnati
that
stack. I've also completely faded the Bills. So if if it isn't what Adam thinks it's going to be, and it's a lower scoring game, certainly will be in play. You know how the Bengals are going to play this. They're gonna hang back and wait for Josh Allen to make a mistake. So we just have to hope the mistake turns into a touchdown. Apologies in advance, Don. 2,400 Bengals defense.
Well, I think I think when playing these like 4-game slates, there is something interesting to like just deciding to fade one game, because one of these games I think will end up being pretty ugly, just because the nature of 4 outdoor playoff games. Like one of these,
it's going to be the 49ers in Dallas.
And
San Francisco is going to run roughshod over Dallas this weekend,
and maybe that's it. But I could see one of them being ugly, and you're looking back and going, I wish I had no guys from this game, but. Adam, what's your defense here?
Quietly, as everyone's been worried about the Bills' protection, Josh Allen holding the ball too long. Do you know who ranked 11th in the NFL in sacks allowed, playing one less game than everybody else? A team that is now missing 60% of their starting offensive linemen, with a defensive line that has been listening to the naysayers say they can't play without Von Miller, Greg Rousseau, Ed Oliver, first round blue chip players are going to be hungry on Sunday. And Joe Burrow is on the menu in Buffalo. 44 sacks allowed on the year by the Bengals. Joe Burrow has thrown 12 interceptions and has 18 total turnovers on the year. He hasn't turned the ball over as much as Josh, but he's been close, and he loves to take those chances and take those shots. And with a rangy, long linebacking core like Tremaine Edmonds and Matt Milano, additionally, the Bengals have turned the ball over at least once in their past 5 games, 5 straight games with a turnover for the Cincinnati Bengals, including 3 against a pitiful New England Patriots defense.
I love how Adam has his like wrestler heel thing, and then he takes a break and goes, additionally, and then he's got more stats.
Blue chip promo. And if someone is ordering Joe Burrow because he's on the menu, I assume you're getting that with blue cheese and not ranch, right?
Oh, what am I, a monster?
All right. If someone could get a Photoshop of Joe Burrow with blue cheese all over him, maybe just a head on a wing or something.
Don't forget, they turned it over 5 times against the Steelers in week 1.
That's true.
And almost won the game
in the regular season.
They did almost win the game, which means they'll turn it over 4 or 5 times against a better team and lose the game.
There is, I was listening to this fantasy show, and they were making a case for Dak, and they go, yeah, Dak has 15 interceptions, but those are just 15 individual plays. Like if you look at Dak, I go, you can't do that. You can't just go, hey, that's a small sample size of 15 plays. Yeah, but in that small sample size, 100% of the time he threw for interceptions. Throwing for 15 interceptions and leading the league in interceptions when you didn't play 5 games, that fucking matters. Okay? That means you're not a good quarterback.
Honey, I won $50,000 in Vegas, and then I lost 200.
Yeah, you're just looking at a select plays. Yes, you have to include the bad plays when you're evaluating.
Dak's a nice guy. He's a hippie. His name's Rain. And they're sympathetic to his cause.
Don't forget last year, Joe Burrow took 9 sacks in the divisional round and threw 1 pick against no touchdowns. He has thrown a pick in 50% of his playoff games and been sacked 23 times over 5 games. See 9, 7, and 4.
That's a playoff trend right there.
But that's the thing is, that's the thing. Like the Bengals almost factor that into their game plan. Like, hey, all right, Josh, Joe Burrow's going to get sacked 7 times, and what are we going to do in the other plays? Like they almost factor it in, which to your point is probably a good time to play the defense.
Chalk is projected to be the Bills defense, if you were wondering. Followed by the Eagles.
It's the pricing there. It's $2,900.
It's too cheap
for a defense that turns the ball over. And we're still waiting. Number 23 has been practicing. The practice window is open for Micah Hyde. Could he make a miraculous return after being counted out all year?
Oh,
probably not, but we can hope.
If we clip that, we could say like Adam Pelletier has news about a Bills player potentially returning for the game. Be really ambiguous, but then it's
The
Micah
practice
Hyde.
window is open, and he didn't come back just to practice.
It's true.
They think he can play, and if he can play this weekend and it won't put his long-term health at risk, honestly, if it does, they might put him on the field because they say we can't re-sign him. What good is he to us next year? We're not re-signing him because we got a lot of young guys to pay. I hope they re-sign him, but he's getting older, and safety's got to be athletic.
Drive the wheels.
Adam, can we get a final score prediction for the Bills and Bengals?
I think it's going to be 44-40.
Wow.
Shootout.
So you have
in upstate New York this weekend.
And to be clear, you have the Bills with 44, right?
Of course.
Oh, so not even covering.
No, the Bengals.
What did it get to? It was at 3.5 last I saw.
No, it's up
5.
to we're
Got
talking
to 5
right now.
Lots of money. Public money on the Bengals. This feels like a Bills spot.
Right now over at WynnBet, Bengals plus 5.5 minus 108. Get that sweet minus.
Looks like it looks like America's team catching all the money.
What could go wrong? Thank you, Adam, for calling in. Make sure you check out Adam, sportsgamblingpodcast.com. The managing editor does a lot of, all over the site, helping it out, getting the fantasy football podcast up and running. We got the XFL gambling podcast, got a ton of off-season fantasy stuff going, alt fantasy. However deep you want to go in the fantasy waters, Adam is there to be your lifeguard to prevent you from drowning. Follow him on Twitter at Adam Pelletier, and make sure you toss us a nice rating review. Apple Podcasts. We will announce a winner of a nice SGPN gift card on the Sunday night recap show.
I just picture alt fantasy, a bunch of dudes dressed in like steampunk costumes, drafting a fantasy team.
That's not how you draft your fantasy team normally.
Thank you for participating in the Sports Gambling Podcast.
For the Sports Gambling Podcast, I'm Sean, stacking the money green, and he is Ryan.
Excellent show today, Sean.
Kramer. Let it ride.